Hi guys, Sam here from EggSeeds. I'm here today to show you how to get seed from your favourite cherry tomatoes that you can then grow on and make your very own cherry tomato plant. So first of all, we need our cherry tomatoes, we need a jug, we need some water, with a knife and a safe place to chop. The reason I've chosen a jug is it's nice, wide open top so I can get my hand in. So the reason I'm chopping the tomatoes is because if I squeezed it, it would spurt everywhere. But if I chop it, I can control the angle. So now I've got my tomatoes in there, I'm going to add just a little bit of water to cover the top of them. Then I'm going to get my hand in there, and I'm going to squish those tomatoes into the water. Add a bit more water. So you can see there's no seeds or flesh left in that. Just got the tomato skin. So you can see there's still some seeds in that. So I'm going to go back in. And there's no more seeds on that. Still got one in there. So the reason I'm taking out the tomato skins and not leaving them in is because if I leave them in, at the end of the process I want to pour it out, some of the seeds might get caught up in the tomato skins and come out with them. But by taking them out, the mixture, I leave it over the next 3 days, is less likely to go really mouldy and will just end up looking more like a soup with a little bit of mould starting on the top. Adding a bit more water, try and show you. As you can see, there's lots of seeds already spinning round. Now I can tip it only so far, but you should be able to see the seeds collecting at the bottom. Now all I'm going to need to do for this is just leave this on the side for 3 days, no less, no more. So here's some I started 3 days ago. So I'm going to pour out the mucky water which is on top, fill it up with a bit of fresh. And what you can see is just left lots and lots of seeds. Just going to pour off the rest of the water. Bring in my kitchen roll. I'm going to turn it upside down and tap them out. I'm just spreading them out a little bit. But you get the idea. From just a few cherry tomatoes, there's quite a lot of seed that you can save. Now each one of these seeds is going to grow its own plant. So I will probably only need 2, 3 or 4 seeds for myself. But then if I grow on some other plants, I can share them around my friends and my neighbours. Or I can share some seeds and let them have them. Or I can keep them for a year or two. I can write what variety they were or what kind of plants they were, and I could store them away somewhere safe for next year's growing. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm just going to put them somewhere dry now, maybe on the windowsill just to dry out, and then I will label them and I'll store them somewhere safe until I'm ready to sow. One thing to note when you're putting this somewhere safe to dry out is don't put it in a place which is too windy, because once these seeds are dried out on top of the paper, they're quite lightweight, and a gust of wind or a slam of a door and the seeds might jump off. So make sure you put it out of the way of a strong wind or strong gust, and they will stay on there. Once they're fully dry, you could store them in a little seedy bag or maybe a little paper envelope and label what they are inside. And when you actually save them, just so you know how old those seeds are, because the older some of these seeds, like tomatoes, the less likely they are to be able to grow. But these tomato seeds will last for at least a couple of years. Now I'd say 2 to 3 years, and I'd be able to grow these cherry tomatoes on from those seeds. And as you can see, it was just that easy to do that I could even save 1 or 2 tomatoes off of any plant or any food that I've enjoyed and just save a few of those seeds. So after a couple of hours of drying, you'll notice now the seeds are loose on the paper and just how many there are. So just from a few cherry tomatoes, I've now got upwards of 50 seeds, maybe even closer to 100. What I've got here is a container that already has holes in, so it's going to be good for drainage, and it means that the compost won't get oversaturated and the plants rot or the seeds rot. So with the good drainage, I've also got to think about I need to have something underneath to collect any water that does go through. So I need a container which this fits inside of, which could be an old mushroom box, I've got a purpose-built tray which fits 2 of these alongside each other. So with this empty tray, what I need to first do is to fill it with compost like the one I've done underneath. Once it's full of compost, I roughly evened it out with my hands, but I'm not going to push it down with my fingers or my hands because that would create uneven compressed soil in there. What I'm going to use the pot I've already got, the other spare one. I'm just going to gently push that down. So I don't want it squashed, but I wanted it compressed so it gives the roots a bit of strength in there. Now I'm going to think about what I'm going to plant. So with these tomatoes, I've got a variety called Moneymaker, which is a very common one to buy the tomato plants of Moneymaker at this time of year. It's not my most favourite of tasty tomatoes out there. There's a lot more varieties which are a lot nicer to eat, but it's something which is most commonly found, and so you'll find most people are growing it. I managed to pick up this pack of seeds. I'm in no way supported by Unwins. It just happened to be a packet of seeds that was available in the supermarket when I was doing an essential shop. This is what I've got. It says it can have up to 50 seeds. There is no way that I'm going to need 50 plants. And I also want to grow some of the cherry tomato seeds that we've saved from the cherry tomatoes I like. So what I'm going to do is look at this tray. I'm going to think about how I could divide it up. So I might consider about an inch apart. Let's just have a look, work it out. Oh, I could do it 1, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just think, can I fit that in? Is that enough space for those plants? That's more than enough lines of tomatoes for me to make and then share out with people. So I might as well use these markers. Now these markers just happen to be picked up in the supermarket alongside that shop, 50p for 50 or £1 for 50. And they normally come with a pencil, which is very handy, and you write on the rough side of the marker, not really the smooth. So I've got 5 lines marked in here. Just in case I forget, I'll put a marker in each. So let's start with the cherry tomato seeds. Now these seeds are tiny, and so it's going to be very hard for a lot of people to pick them up. It can be useful to either use tweezers very gently to pick them up. Now see, I got big fingers, I struggle with picking them up. I might dip my finger in just to help, and I'll pick the seed up. I'll tap it down on the compost and it will more likely come off. So as my fingers are getting close, I'm just rubbing my fingers together until the seed drops out. I don't mind too much if there's 2 seeds together. What I'm more concerned about is say a clump of 5 or 6, because they will compete for their growing space and there will be too much moisture. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seeds on that. That's probably more than I need, but what I know is I'm going to pass these seeds out. So I've got a handful here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's about 20 cherry tomato seeds, and this batch of saved cherry tomato seeds I have not touched. So I'll bag them seeds up if any of the Nawiv or happy clients wish to have seeds, and I'll make sure you've cherry tomato seeds in those bags as well. So that's cherry tomato seeds. I'll just cover over those lines, just crumbling the compost in. I'm crumbling this. I don't want big clumps landing on top of the seed. It makes it a bit harder for that seed to get round. It might be enough that that seed doesn't make you think it hasn't germinated. So now I've got 3 lines here. Let's have a look how these seeds come. Comes with a warning. Shake seeds to the bottom of the sachet before, as you've just seen, because tomato seeds are quite small. Now I know there's no way that all of those seeds have gone down. There's bound to be some stuck at the top. So let's do this carefully. Let's start with this top section. I said there's 2 seeds for sure up there. So these seeds slightly bigger because they come from larger tomatoes, not cherry tomatoes. And we might as well start with that one in there. And then we'll go for the next one. Any more seeds locked in there? Now that's it from that end. Let's open up the packet. I'm not going to save these seeds, so I don't mind destroying the packet. Okay, so there's 8 in some and 9 in another. Now see what's left here. I've spaced them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. 33 seeds on top of my 25 that I've already planted. That's over 50. However, if you look at it, you just wouldn't think there was that many seeds there, but there are. So I'm going to put these to one side because I may sprinkle them and get them germinating and pass them on. But this seed tray, what I'm going to do is crumble some compost out of my hand. I'm not opening my hand up, I'm literally crumbling it through my fingers. I don't want those large bits, as I said earlier. Take out some large lumpy bits and some big stringy bits. So it's on there now. Just going to tap it down a little bit. Not hard, just tapping it down. It's a gentle tap. So there's 3 lines of the money maker. I'm going to keep these labels separate, and I'm going to keep this label separate because there's only so many labels you have. Now, money maker, I will write on the rough side of the label, and on the back, although it doesn't last very long, I'll write the date I sowed them, so I know roughly when I should expect them. You know, some people may be lucky, a few days they may germinate. However, I always say give them 7 to 10 days, we'll see how they're doing. Now on this one, it was a cherry tomato. So another thing to consider, but it's good to know what type of tomato plant you have, and therefore what other kind of resources you might need to get in place ready for growing of your tomatoes. Cherry tomato, the money maker is a vine tomato. I'll grow this up mesh or I'll grow it up string. But you can also get centiflora one, which is more like a bush tomato, and you handle that different. So now this is ready, I'll put this in the tray. So just in 4 days the tomatoes are up. So within the week we'll probably be potting these on